Hey everybody, Mr. Regan here, and up to now you've done a lot to research all the ways in which scientists affect impact force. We've learned a lot about iterative testing. Today we look to apply all of that to one final egg pod revision. So the revision that we're going to be doing isn't going to come in the form of actually building or modeling anything, but answering questions about what you would do. We're going to look to apply these ideas, not only thinking about what we read, but also applying them to what we actually did in our previous tests, thinking about what worked and didn't work. So we'll be breaking down how to apply the reading to the egg drop experiment in the next task and how to answer the analysis questions in the following two tasks. So in task number 9, you'll see we have 3 sets of questions related to the 3 factors that impact or affect impact force. Collision time, velocity, and mass. Your job in the first one is to brainstorm all the ways in which you could build a pod that increases the time of collision, decreases velocity of the pod, and decreases mass. Your job is to brainstorm here. We're not looking to change or make any changes to our pod idea, but to brainstorm all the ideas that we can so we can then decide what would be best. Once we've brainstormed all the ways we could do these things with the materials provided and such, then we're going to move on to the next task and apply it to our pod. So one example, if we're looking at this, maybe for how to decrease the mass, we could talk about how you could use different massed containers to help minimize mass. For example, you could use a red solo cup, which is less massive than the other 2 containers. That would help to decrease the overall mass of the pod. And you could then talk about all the other objects and what is more or less massive and decide what could be the most important materials for mass. Once you've done that for velocity and decreasing the collision time, you're then going to dive into what worked and didn't work in your pod. So what worked to minimize mass, to minimize collision time, to minimize the velocity, and how was it successful? What didn't work, and what were you trying to accomplish with that design? So looking to really analyze what worked and what didn't work with these 2 sets of questions. So maybe you talk about how you used a red solo cup and how that led to the least massive container for your egg. Maybe you talk about how that minimized the overall mass, but other areas were more massive. So that was a successful design idea for you and your group. And we'll do that for our 2 sets of questions, the successful parts of your design and the least successful. So take a second. Do we understand how to apply our reading related to those 3 ideas to our egg drop experiment? Do we understand how to answer the analysis questions in the next set of tasks? The answer is yes to both those. Put it in green. If one of those is confusing, yellow, and if both are confusing, red. If you have any questions, reach out. And as always, good luck.